That's a great question.
Mm.
I, I don't think anybody's giving up two number ones, but they probably don't have to make this trade work. Um, if if a team was to get him to sign an offer sheet, or um, and then he actually gets matched by the Ravens with the agreement that he's going to be traded, then it doesn't have to be two ones. They can come to an agreement on what the compensation is going to be, but it'll obviously be a one plus something else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the thing that is scaring people off is that unless this information is incorrect, that he wants a Deshaun Watson type contract where it's 100% guaranteed, and that's the only one in the league that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now these rookie deals are guaranteed, but
Yeah.
they're not nearly for as the first round picks are guaranteed, but it's not nearly for as much money. And then also his injury history. When you just you look at what's happened the last few years, he's gotten hurt a lot. And last year, he missed the last chunk of the season, and it was not back for the playoff game. And his style of play is not conducive to staying healthy. Not saying he can't stay healthy, but he hasn't. So are you going to give up, a one plus something else and give him the guaranteed money that he's looking for? And then you sit there and you worry every game, is he going to get hurt? I mean, there are other players with obviously with that style in the NFL right now, but the focus is on Lamar because he's such a dynamic runner, and it is so much a big part of his game. And he doesn't throw. It's not like he can't throw the ball; he just doesn't throw it as well as say like a guy like Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's a style of offense, though, that has been in Baltimore for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like they had Joe Flacco slinging the ball more than they let Lamar do it. And there was
Joe
a time,
Flacco throws the ball better than Lamar.
Yeah, he did.
And Joe Flacco couldn't run, so obviously the style of offense changed when they went from Flacco to Lamar. I mean, and that's one of the reasons that they had brought in Robert Griffin to back up Lamar for a few years, is that if Lamar had gotten hurt, they felt they can run a similar type offense with Griffin. So, listen, if you're going to say, where do you think Lamar Jackson will be playing this year? I'd say my clear number one pick is Baltimore. I think they'll wind up compromising on the money.
That's what I think so.
And
I think so too.
It's not like the Ravens have somebody else, waiting to take over, like Green Bay has with Love ready to take over for Rodgers.
Yeah.
The Ravens don't have anybody else. And I don't see another team that's ready to give Lamar anything close to what he wants. So it just kind of makes sense that somewhere between now and July 15th, which will be, the deadline for Jackson to get rid of the tag and sign a long-term deal for this year, that's the pressure point. I think it will get done because at this point, maybe you guys don't agree with this, but they need each other.
Yeah.
And that's usually, a pretty good way to get started to get a deal done.
Personally, I do think that he will be back in Baltimore.
I do as well.
I would like to see him on another team to see how he does. Like, it would be really interesting. But Harbaugh seems very confident that he's standing behind him and that they're going to get something done. You could tell from the
Tanner. I mean, why do you need to see him on another team to see how he does? They're gonna, whatever team would get him would play the same kind of offense.
Yeah. They gotta. What the biggest thing they're going to put? They got to make an offense that works with him. It ain't like you can put him in and say you're going to run my offense, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you got to make an offense around Lamar that works. Like if he was to go to the Colts, and this is the name that's out there in all the rumors, is the only team that could possibly be interested in him. They would have to change their whole offensive philosophy around him to kind of a Jalen Hurts type offense like the Eagles OC had. But one of those things too is the Falcons said the same thing that Gary's talking about. The Falcons on their altar blank. He was like, hey, he's a tremendous talent. He's a tremendous player. But his health scares me to pay that kind of money for him.
Gary, do you think that this is the like NFL owners making a stand? Like they're not going to let another contract like Deshaun Watson happen again? I know that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's been a conversation among the owners. Let's not do that because that would be collusion.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I think it's pretty well understood that they were not happy with the Watson contract and view it as an outlier. That the Browns were completely desperate to get him, and there were a bunch of teams that were interested. I mean, Atlanta and New Orleans for sure, and the way to get him was to guarantee every last dollar. So, I mean, that's what happened. And I don't think teams want that to be a precedent-setting contract.